Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a tour of the OneShot solution and highlight its intelligent core or toolbox of features that possess everything you need to run your organization efficiently and seamlessly. We will discuss features such as management and administration, sales and services, purchasing and operations, regulatory and compliance, production and MRP, inventory and distribution, along with accounting and financials. Let's start by taking a look at the management and administration features inside of OneShot's intelligent core. All right, as we take a look at some of these management and administration features of OneShot, what I really want to highlight is that it's really easy and user-friendly for your management team to be able to use and get the information that they need. So I'm going to highlight a few things that will touch on not only the user friendliness, but the power of it to get the information you need quickly to make decisions. So the first thing that you're seeing here that is beneficial to management is OneShot's dashboard. And so the dashboard can consist of many different widgets that do different things, and it can be tailored to every single user within the organization so they can see exactly what they need right when they log in. So you can see, me as a member of the management team, I have certain things that are more important to me, like my workflows that my team uses. Messages and alerts. This is very powerful for me where I can get alerts when certain things happen. So I'm able to not have to micromanage and check and double check at the work of all my employees to make sure big mistakes aren't made. I just get alerts in the system letting me know when something happens. So if someone gave a discount that was over 20%, I get an alert letting me know that. And then I can go follow up in that specific transaction, saving me time. I also get alerts for approvals. So whenever someone tries to send an item that's restricted to a certain state, I get an approval letting me know, hey, this is going to California and it's restricted there. You need to check on this or approve it before it goes out. So this is a very nice feature that I use as part of the management team. I may have other goals that are important to me, or different metrics that I want to take a look at, like how many FFL certificates do I have that are expiring within the month. Well, I can see that I have two, and it's not just static, but everything's interactive with OneShot. I can click on those and see the exact two certificates that are expiring, and then take action against those. I can also see that I have 15 production orders that need to be completed today, and that the average fulfillment days that it takes me to fulfill an order is 0. So my team is getting it out the door really quick and doing well. So this dashboard is a very nice feature for management. Another feature that is nice with OneShot is the ability to do quick and easy investigation. And so this is this tool up here, just a little magnifying glass, but it allows me to search almost my entire database off of any keyword to get the information that I need quickly. So I was investigating a specific order from a customer and I knew their phone number or their address, or I was looking up for an item or a vendor, anything that I want, I can just click on this and very quickly do a search for pretty much my entire database off of that keyword. So as an example, maybe I bought laptops for my company 10 years ago and I forgot who I bought it from. But I knew, oh, you know what? Something to do with tech or technology in their name. That's great. That's all you need to investigate. You can just type in that keyword. It's going to go out and search all the fields and pull back results. So instead of me wasting hours doing investigation and research and trying to find information like this, in a matter of just seconds, you'll see that SAP, powered by OneShot, is able to get all the data that I need here. So you can see it's crunching, starting to find results here, and I found all sorts of results that had the keyword technology in it. So I found sales orders, I found service calls, I found customers, I found vendors, I found purchase documents. So whatever I'm looking for, I can just drill down. So I'm looking for an actual vendor, and so I can see I found 5 vendors, 5 business partners, 4 customers, 1 vendor. All right, who's that vendor that I'm looking for? I can just take off the customers. Oh, there it is, SMD Technologies, and I can see who that was I'm looking for and click on that, open up their profile. Or if it was something else I was looking for, maybe it was a specific purchase order. I can come here and say, okay, I found 123 purchase orders that I found with that keyword, and then I can filter as I'd like to find very quickly that information that I'm looking for. That's a nice feature that management has as well. Another feature that I like to highlight is analytics and reporting. So we have a full integration with Excel, which is really nice and quick for management to do quick ad hoc reports. So you can see here we're fully integrated. If I was looking for any type of data, all I have to do is let the system know what type of data I'm trying to build a report off of or do an analysis off of, and then click on that. So if I'm trying to do like a profitability analysis, all I got to do is just click on this, and then it's going to open up Excel, and you can see the real-time connection with all the data points that I can use to build that report or analytics. So maybe I'm looking at doing a report of my gross profit based upon my different groupings of customers. All right, well I can do that really quick. So I can say, okay, I want to see business partner group name, and I can use my normal Excel skills that I have to build that report however I want it to be, and do any calculations, save it, and then open it back up and have that adjusted real time. So I don't have to do a data dump. It's real time connected. So this is a nice feature for management to have. And then kind of going along with that is the ability to do analytics and what if analysis of that information. So here's an example that management may use for forecasting. So not only do I want to just do a forecast based upon historical data, I want it to use algorithms and power to be able to predict what's going to happen in the future. So I'm asking the system to predict out for 5 months here, and this for this one item. I can do for multiple groups of items. You can see here's all my historical data, and here in the orange is what it's predicting based upon those algorithms for what's going to happen in the future. And now with the what if analysis that I can do, everything is interactive. So if I have outliers that are incorrect, like maybe this guy right here shouldn't have been that high, and I want to get more realistic data, I can adjust it on the fly and let the system recalculate. And you can see the new prediction is a little bit different based upon what I did. So it's really nice having a system that's user friendly, but also very powerful and giving you the information you need quickly, and then being able to do kind of analysis off of that information. So that's a quick little feature highlight of the management and administration features. Next, let's take a tour of the sales and services features of OneShot's Intelligent Core. OneShot has a lot of features specifically around the sales process, the sales and services features. And so what I wanted to do in this part is just show you some of those modules or features that we have related to sales. And you can see from my dashboard, a lot of these are already laid out in the process that I use. So a sales quote, a sales order, a delivery, an invoice, an incoming payment, and then potentially things like returns and credit memos and RMAs and down payments. So there are a lot of features we have that can really help you out on the sales side. Just to kind of show you an example, I'm going to come in here and open up the sales order and show you what may happen if, let's say, I had an order come in online that I put in the system as a sales order. You can see some of the information about that sale. So who the customer was, the reference numbers, dates, the different items they purchased, the quantity of those items. I can see if there's any taxes that are being charged, any freight being charged, how much I have still that needs to be delivered, how much I have in stock, all sorts of data that I can see about this order. And so one of the nice things about OneShot is it's very easy to move along the process, and we try to help so you don't have to rekey data and potentially make errors. So we have buttons that just let you push data kind of to the next step in the sales cycle. So if I'm going to now create a delivery a couple days later for this order, it's now ready to be fulfilled. All I gotta do is go ahead and click that button, and I can see that it's now time to fulfill these orders. And now some of these items may be serialized that we need to keep track of for our acquisition and dispositions information. And so you can see, like as an example, this Glock, this item, HG1001, is managed by serial number. And so if I go ahead and try to click add, the system is automatically going to realize that this is serialized and ask, okay, well, which which serial did you use. That way this can be be tracked and used for my reporting purposes and my compliance that we'll get to here in a few seconds. So I can see, hey, this serial number that I used is actually this one right here. I can search for it, I can just select it and go ahead and update the system and have this keep track in the records. So that way now as I deliver this item, it has now been delivered and tracked as that serial was used for this specific order. And if I have warranty or information for like service, this can automatically create a warranty for my customer. So when they call back and log a service request, I know exactly which order they're talking about. And so that's just a brief highlight of some of the sales features that we have as part of the OneShot solution. Next, let's take a tour of the purchasing and operations features of OneShot's Intelligent Core. When it comes to the purchasing and operations pieces within OneShot, there are a few modules or features that I really would like to highlight during this portion. And they're very similar to what we saw earlier with the sales process, but just on the opposite end, we have the modules that are equivalent in the purchasing side. So purchase requests, purchase orders, goods receipt POs into your warehouse, invoices, returns, down payments, outgoing payments. We have a lot of modules and features specifically around the purchasing side. What I'll show you today is an example of maybe a purchase order going to a receipt into the warehouse. And so I'll pull up a purchase order that we put into the system for a few items. We can see this is with the vendor Far East Firearm Imports. We're purchasing 4 items, different quantities, different price points, the tax. We didn't have any freight that we were charged. And so now when this comes to our warehouse, we're ready to receive this. So same thing before, we just click the copy to button, goods receipt PO, and this will bring over all the data so we don't have to rekey it in or type it or worry about making mistakes. And so now the warehouse team will look through and make sure that we received the quantities that we had, and once they've confirmed that all that is correct, or if it's incorrect they can change it or adjust it, they go ahead and push add. Now if any of these items are managed by serial number for acquisitions and dispositions information, the system is going to know that and prompt for this type of information. So you can see here, out of these 4 items, one of these items, HG1001, is managed by serial number. And so we need to enter the information that's required for that serial number when we bring it in to our inventory. So whatever the serial number may be, we can have that serial number entered into the system here. And then the admission date, and then any other type of information that may be important to us, we can put in here with warranties, with different dates, and then obviously compliance information that you may want to type in about that specific serial number. And then after typing all of this in, the system will store that so you can use it later on for compliance and different reporting purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the serial number for now to save some time. You can see mine auto populates a lot of that information for me. And then also, if you had more than one item or quantity or serial number, you can also use that same tool to do automatic creation within like a series. So if you were creating 10 serial numbers or bring them all in, you can bring them all in at once. But we'll go ahead and add this. And then later we can then move this over to an invoice and cut the check and make a payment, whichever method we choose, ACH, check, credit card, to that vendor. So that's just a brief little overview of some of the purchasing features within the OneShot solution. Next, let's take a tour of the regulatory and compliance features of OneShot's Intelligent Core. As the OneShot solution is tailored specifically for the firearm and shooting industries, obviously there are a lot of features built in and baked in for compliance specifically around those industries. And so to show you a few, first is going to be specifically around compliance, with acquisition and disposition information. So we need to keep track of that and have that, for any of our audits that happen. So we obviously are built to integrate fully with any of the compliance softwares out there, and being able to pass that information on as soon as we acquire or dispose of a item that's regulated, to have that flow into directly to the software that you're currently using. We also have the ability, if you don't want to do that, to have reports that pull up and have that information tracked within OneShot itself. So you can see here an example of a report that has all of that acquisition and disposition information about all of my serial numbers that I have in the system. When I acquired it, when I disposed of it, and if I have acquired it but not disposed of it yet, and all of that information. Now, from there, you can see the system is automatically tracking this information flowing into this report. So every time I do a receipt or acquire a serial number, you can see if that item here, like HG1001, is serialized, it's automatically going to ask for information about that serial number and store that in the tables of SAP Business One. And same thing when I go on the opposite end and dispose of it, or one example of a disposal is here with a delivery or shipment to a customer. Same thing, if that item is on there, it's automatically going to pop up and keep track of that information that I need for my regulatory reports. And so this is one area of how OneShot is tailored specifically for the firearm and shooting industry. Another example of one is with FFL. So we need to keep track, and there are regulations we have around keeping certificates for FFLs and shipments and whatnot. So we also have a table that you can import all of the data into for those FFLs, and then even see here an example of a widget that I have that tells me when those FFL certificates are expiring, so I know that I need to go out and get that information again. So we have information specifically to help you with your FFLs. And then also when you're entering orders, we've tailored the sales order screens not only just to track information about the sales orders themselves, but also to have information here about the compliance that we need around that. So if it's being shipped, not only who's the person that it's being shipped to, but if there's a certain FFL that we're using to ship that to, who is that FFL, what's their information, what's their address. Then things also for selling directly to someone there in our store, and we're using the 4473 document, we can then enter that serial number and have that flow through as well. So there's compliance specifically around the order processing that we have directly in SAP Business One. And the final regulatory compliance area is with restrictions. So built right into the information about our individual items, we have the ability to set rules or restrictions around when and where that item can be shipped. So here it's purely at the state level, but we can have an item that has restrictions, yes or no, at a state level or even other levels. So that way, whenever an order is tried to be placed for this item to one of the restricted areas, the system will generate an approval that before it can actually be shipped, it will give a warning saying that this is trying to be shipped to an area that is restricted, and then require an approval from a manager to, if that it can be overridden, or no, it can't, it needs to be removed. So that's just an example of some of the regulatory and compliance things that OneShot has for the firearm and shooting industry. Next, let's take a tour of the production and MRP features of OneShot's Intelligent Core. The OneShot solution has a lot of features and modules also around production and MRP, or material resource planning. And so we're going to highlight a few of those here in this section. So if I come over here to my main menu, you see I have two separate folders just specifically for production MRP. So we have modules like bill of materials, production orders, issuing components, receiving finished goods, different reporting modules, and then also on MRP, things to help us with forecasts, and then the actual order recommendations, and then the wizard to create those recommendations. So we'll highlight a few of those. Let's start with bill of materials. So I open up our bill of materials screen. You'll see we have the ability to keep track of all the different builds and the components that go into that for all of your items. So here's a simple item, a high performance magazine in the color black. So here are the three components that go into that. They're items, the quantities, and then, other settings that we put in there with like warehousing that it's coming out of, issuing method, etc. So this is a template for building one of these high performance magazines. So once you have it in the system, that template can be used when you go need to do production orders. So I want to make a production, a mass production of this item. Great, we can come in here to the production orders. You can see all the production orders that you currently have planned and released. So here's one for that item that's planned to start today and end in 2 days. Here's the components that we have that need to go into that. And then we can go ahead and then receive the finished good or issue the components depending on the method that we use to do that. And if there's any items in here that are managed by serial numbers or batches, components, or finished goods wise, it's going to ask us for that. So here's finishing that one of that finished good item. And here it says, hey, this is managed by a batch. So you need to enter in for that information in there. You can go ahead and type in that batch or serial number information that you have, the quantity, and then any other compliance information that you may need around that batch or serial number. And then now that production order is in the system, we've issued the components and received the finished good, and it can be used for that delivery of that sales item. And that's a little bit about the production module. And the final thing is the MRP, the Material Resource Planning. This is a tool to help you to be efficient in your ordering. It can tell you when you need to purchase items or produce items based upon your supply and demand. And the supply and demand can be from your existing orders, from forecasts, a number of things. But I'll pull up the MRP wizard here and run one of my scenarios, my demo scenario, to show you what it looks like. And all you do is you set up the settings, run it. It's going to go ahead and crunch the numbers based upon your supply and demand and tell you what you need to do. So here you can see it found a couple of different items that need to be purchased on different dates or produced on different dates in order for me to meet my supply and my demand. So you can see it's suggesting that we make 5 purchase orders and 1 production order. And so this is very handy and helpful for your production team, and a quick little overview of some of those features that OneShot provides you as part of its intelligent core. Next, let's take a tour of the inventory and distribution features of OneShot's intelligent core. OneShot has a lot of features and modules also to help you manage your inventory. So you can see over here in my main menu, we have a whole folder just specifically for inventory. And within that, there's a lot of things that you can do. So I'm going to show you here shortly about the item master data, the record of all of your items, your components, your finished goods, the sales items that you have. You can see that OneShot allows you to manage barcodes, to do bin location management, to do different levels of pricing, picking and packing, and then a whole number of inventory reports. Where I'd like to start is specifically with the actual item records. So if I come in here, you can see there is a lot of information that you are able to store about your items in OneShot. So you can see here's an example of an item that we have with an item code, a description, the grouping that it belongs to, the barcodes that it has, the different pricing structures and price levels, the information around compliance that it has, if it's managed by a serial number or not, data around purchasing and preferred vendors, sales data, dimensions, inventory data, how many different, in stock levels I have for the different, warehouses or virtual warehouses that I have, minimum, maximum levels, data for production or MRP planning, properties, advanced properties and groupings, just general remarks and pictures about the items, attachments, and then even like we're going to talk with compliance is the different restriction levels that you can have regarding these items. So this is just this quick snapshot of what information or data record we have about this item. And then as I showed you earlier, other things and other transactions around inventory that we can do of manually issuing and scrapping material, receiving samples and other materials, doing transfers of inventory and serial numbers across warehouses for in and out of outside production, doing inventory counting and inventory posting, cycle counting, revaluations, all sorts of things that we can help you manage when it comes to inventory management in the system and distribution. To conclude this tour, let's take a look at the accounting and financial features of OneShot's Intelligent Core. Since OneShot allows you to really manage everything that you need to run your organization efficiently and seamlessly in one location, at its very core, it needs to be very powerful and centralized with its accounting and financial features. So everything that happens with your organization, from sales to inventory to production, purchasing, all needs to flow back into accounting. And so at its very core, as you see here, we have a lot of modules specifically around finance and banking to help you run your organization seamlessly. So as I open up the financing folder, you'll see a bunch of different things that we can do, that your accounting team and controllers can do here. Of obviously having your chart of accounts in the system and seeing the information about the different accounts and running financial reports that you're going to need, like your balance sheet, your trial balance, your P&L, helping your company do 1099s at the end of the year, doing journal entries, reconciliations with your bank, budget, you name it. We have lots of modules that you'll be able to use specifically around that finance side. And then same thing on the banking, where it flows also from that regard, is the payments of receiving incoming payments, outgoing payments, deposits to your bank, having it done manually or automatic or semi-automatic, the banking reports, printing checks, cutting checks. There's lots of modules to help your finance team on that regard. But where OneShot's real power comes is that all of these financial transactions happen seamlessly and simultaneously as in the other areas of the software. So as an example, when someone creates an AR invoice in the system, you'll see that it automatically creates a journal entry. So here's an AR invoice for an order that we saw from the system for a holster and a gun. And we can very quickly see the journal entry that this transaction created automatically in the background. It hit a number of different accounts. So the different tax accounts that we had, it hit our customer's account and until they pay us, the sales revenue and the freight accounts. All of this happens in the background, so that it hits your numbers and you have real-time reporting. And same thing on the purchasing side. If you open up an AP invoice, you would see the exact same thing. So everything is meant to flow and centralize and help you with your accounting and financial at its core. So that wraps up going through the different areas of OneShot's Intelligent Core with the sales, purchasing, regulatory, production, inventory, accounting, management features that come out of the box with OneShot. But also above and beyond that, we really have the ability to meet almost any need that your organization has, whether it be automation, a very complex requirement, a very unique niche thing that you guys do. We have the ability to do that. And so you can see here a list of some of those things that we can help to bring in addition with the OneShot core. So things such as advanced analytics, advanced and very detailed manufacturing, warehouse automation or WMS with handheld scanners, e-commerce integrations to not only point of sale directly in your store, but also online with e-commerce. Having things in the cloud anytime and where you want to have that. And then even hands-free mobile use of the OneShot powered by SAP Business One solution on your mobile device. So these are just a few to help you see some of the advanced things that we can help your organization with.